Welcome back to the Comic Book ASM Artist. Today we're going to be looking at this fun Ultimate Guide to Batman. It's a 80th anniversary special magazine that came out around May of last year, and since this is technically going to be the 81st year for Batman, I figured that it'd be a good chance to take care of this neat little book that I got and share with you all. And it covers like pretty much every single iteration of Batman. So you'll see pretty much any version of Batman that you liked in here. So it's really neat, and I can't wait to show you. But also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It really helps us out, and we just want to get bigger and bigger to provide better content here. So, and you'll see this just has different snapshots and articles in here. So it opens with the Batman versus Superman, Ben Affleck nod to Frank Miller Batman there. See some table of contents here. Another shot of the newer one here. I think I wish his ears were a little bit longer on his cowl, but I thought he had a pretty cool looking suit in the new Batman movie, honestly. Well, technically it wasn't a standalone movie, so. But yeah, we see it starts from the very beginning here. This is... I guess that's Bob Kane there, I want to say. I read something about Professor Doolittle. So, but I'm pretty sure that's Bob Kane. I've usually seen him, how he looked older. And we see the first appearance of Batman here. It's the Chemical Syndicate. Look here. You see a blueprint for Gotham City. This is the first time I've really looked at this book too, so I'm kind of going to be looking at the articles a little bit and having a couple quiet moments to see if I can have some extra info to give you all about it. Oh, so this was constructed for the No Man's Land storyline in Batman. If you're not familiar with that, that's when a earthquake hit Gotham and just kind of tore everything up. It was a really long story arc too, and I think it covered like 7 trades if I remember. And I don't even own all those, but I do remember when it happened, and I'd be interested in getting them. I'm pretty sure this is a, middle-age Bob Kane here. And we see some, classic 60s images here. So I guess this talks about how Batman was kind of serious when he started out, and then he went to kind of a lighter tone, and then he found his way back to being more serious again. And I've talked about this before. The Frank Miller Batman really shaped the darker, grimmer, mature tone of Batman books that we know today. And I do want to continue to read this series. I do have the first part up. You can check that out, and hopefully really soon I'll do the second part. It's a whispered reading, if I remember correctly. But yeah, we see some iconic covers here. This is the first issue for the Jim Lee Hush storyline. It's the Alex Ross Batman Rip storyline, which I didn't really care for. This is the year 1 Batman there. Oh, this is Robin's, well, that's not Robin's first appearance, but that is the first issue of Batman. First appearance ever here. And Yeah. I don't know these ones off the top of my head here. And then we see some more influential creators for Batman here. Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil is the combination I know of. I hear a lot of people speak highly of Carmine and Julia Schwartz there as well. But I definitely go back to Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil a lot. I believe they like co-created Man-Bat and Ra's al Ghul and all those guys. Here we see Stan Lee with Frank Miller here, so that's pretty cool. And we see Adam West and Burt Ward here, which he was just inducted into the Walk of Fame, if I remember correctly. So congrats to him. And we see some more iconic covers here. It's Robin's first appearance. This is a recreation here. We see the newer stuff. And then I've never seen this. This was a black and white serial that they did in 1943 of Batman. We see some more 60s Batman here. And if you have the it's the Roku TV app, you can actually watch the episodes of the 1960s Batman for free, so check that out if you've missed seeing those. We see the Val Kilmer and Chris O'Donnell Batman Forever there, which at the time I really enjoyed. The later ones were the ones I actually got to see in theaters. When I was a little kid, I wasn't able to watch Batman in the theater. So, see some 1960s villains there. And then we see here, I think, let's see. This is King Cyril Lord. So I don't exactly know who that is, but I know they had this was a recurring gag on the show when they would scale the building here. They always had a different, like, notable guest pop out. I know, like, Zsa Zsa Gabor and people like that would come out of there, and it was just like a funny, like, who, I wonder who's gonna come out this week sort of thing, so. You see a normal picture of him there. And then we see Gotham stuff, which I wasn't too crazy about. I heard they did some interesting things with it. But since, you know, there's a bit of a story stickler in me, so it's an interesting take, but when there's so many elements, like basically most of the Batman villains are adults or, you know, close to be in this series, so it's like Batman would be, you know, 30 and punching 40 to 50-year-old adults in the face. I don't know about that. And we see the classic 60s Batmobile. I actually did get to see this in person before, and I might throw an image of that up on the screen now. It's when I was in middle school and had a little bit more weight on me. And we see here the 60s Batman stuff with the pows, the sound effects they would throw in. And this section spotlights Robin here. And I didn't see much of the WB Teen Titans, the original version. But I think it's funny, if I remember, I think this suit premiered first and then they decided to use it for the comic, but I could be wrong, but I know it was around that period. I know that they just went with the blue on the black. But still, I think the suit in the movie possibly impacted his look in the comics, but I wasn't reading Nightwing at the time, so I don't know which came first, but that could be the case. I loved that as Batman has progressed, they've gotten, kind of some bigger talent, I guess, or I don't know, more serious, more notable actors maybe. I enjoyed Michael Caine as Batman a lot, or as Batman, as Alfred a lot. I enjoyed Michael Gould too, but I don't know. I felt that Jeremy Irons was a little bit too snarky for Alfred. I picture him kind of I guess Michael Caine had too, but I picture him as the attitude a lot of the original. But I guess if you read the books, he does have more of like a gruffer side. He had seen, military combat and stuff and things like that. So I think possibly if you're looking for accuracy, Michael Caine would probably be the direction to go. But it's weird to sit back and think about it, So yeah, we continue to see the different iterations here. Jason Todd, Robin, Tim Drake, Damian, and I wasn't really sold on Damian until the recent run where the Death of the Family storyline, or whatever you want to call it, where the Joker came back. I think it's interesting that they have adopted Sean Gordon Murphy's version of Batgirl into the regular DC universe, because that's supposed to be written outside of the ongoing books, but they use that suit as a regular suit now, and it's even the one that they just made a McFarlane Toys figure out of. So I was never really crazy with the whole purple suit on Batgirl here. That Morgan Freeman was a great Lucius Fox. Good addition to the show. We see Bullock. I really got to know him. As I've said in the past before, a lot of the my first run-in with the characters was through the animated series. So, Montoya and Bullock here, I really knew them best through the cartoon rather than the books. So, but I see them now in the books, and I always, will read them with the voices that they had in the show. I do like the screen accuracy here of Batwoman's suit, but other than that, I don't know too much about the character. I like how they discreetly put the Halle Berry Catwoman over here away from all the others. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the new Batman film. I know they announced Lenny Kravitz's daughter, I believe, is the new Catwoman. And then they've got old Robert Pattinson is gonna be Batman, so that'll be interesting. It seems like every time they announce a Batman, though, everyone is always skeptical, and then, they tend to do a decent job. Not really too many of them that you can really stand up and say they did incredible, but it's, for the most part, serviceable, We see Harley here. I'm a bigger fan of, the Bruce Timm Harley Quinn than this one that's been popularized. Wish they would go back to this version in the comics mainly. You see Poison Ivy here by Uma Thurman. Here's their top 10 villains for Batman. I'm surprised that Killer Croc is actually on this list. Like, he's a fun villain to look at, but I don't think a lot of people really think about him. Hugo Strange is another one. He's a very cunning and iconic villain, but I wouldn't say he's like household name material, Scarecrow, I would say, is. I'd like to see them give another pass at him. I would definitely say that Penguin is on this list for sure. They've got him at 7 here. I would probably put him higher, honestly. But I could just be thinking about, the standpoint of, like, when you think of Batman villains, you usually have a top 5. And we'll continue to see if the 5 are pretty close. And they do have quite a few different iterations of Penguin, but I always preferred the gross, violent, bizarre one from the Batman Returns. Which, when this movie came out, apparently it was so dark that my mom was really offended by it, so she actually banned Batman from the house for like a good 2 or 3 years or something. And we actually had to watch the animated series in secret for a while, so it was very odd. And we see Mr. Freeze on here. He's definitely a good villain. What's funny, though, is his origin in the cartoon was better than his origin originally in the comics. They tweaked it and they changed it to be where it would match the cartoon. Or, his wife was frozen and dying and he was working on a cure and all that. I think before he was just kind of a maniacal sort of guy. We see Bane is on the list here at number 5. Bane is definitely, one of Batman's most powerful villains, I would say, from the physical prowess and the fact that he did break his back and all that, so. But I don't know, like, it's tough to think about when you think about numbers, I was not a fan of the direction they took in the Nolan trilogy, where they did not have him with, kind of the whole luchador vibe. They went with something totally different with that weird accent he had and everything. It was still entertaining, but definitely not what I would consider Bane to be. Yeah, and then we see the Riddler here. I would probably put Riddler in the top 4. I would probably put him in 5th place, honestly. But I feel like Jim Carrey was totally channeling Frank Gorshin's Riddler, which was more of like a maniacal, cackling sort of character than really a guy who would sit back and think and craft riddles and stuff like that. I definitely feel like Riddler is more of an intelligent and insane person, and this version he was definitely more nutty, I would say. Like Gorshin, like him and the Joker in the 60s show were pretty much like, their laugh was almost swappable, We see Ra's al Ghul here. He's definitely a big one for sure. Looking at this, I might just go through and make a list real quick in my head as I'm looking. But I love how they nailed the look of him in Batman Begins, and how he had like the different name at the beginning, and there's supposed to be this big reveal that he was Ra's al Ghul. But if you had been someone who watched any of Batman, you knew, like, based upon the facial hair and everything, you're just like, this is Ra's al Ghul. So when he's on the train and goes through all that stuff, you're just like, yeah, we already knew that. So, but he was a good character, and definitely a very formidable foe for Batman, considering, he kind of lives forever. And then his daughter wanted to marry Bruce, and they had Damian together and all that stuff. Two-Face we see here. Another character, I'd say Two-Face is definitely in my top 5. They have him at number 2 here. I'd say that's a fitting place for him. I loved like the little extra muscle tendons and all that stuff they did on the Nolan trilogy here. I enjoyed Tommy Lee's take too, though, just because just two very drastic contrasts in the suit and everything. And even that year for Halloween, I dressed up as Two-Face and had the plastic mask and that you could barely breathe in. And I used the coin that came with the action figure to flip and stuff. So really enjoy Two-Face a lot. And of course, number one, we see the Joker. And yeah, we've seen a lot of good iterations of the Joker here. I'd say they're all different, and they're very unique. I would say out of all of them, Jared Leto's is probably the least favorite. I have actually still not seen Joaquin's take on the Joker, but I do look forward to seeing it. I haven't watched it yet, though. But I always go back to the Tim Burton Batman. So the Jack Nicholson Joker always has a special place for me, but I was really impressed by Heath Ledger's too, which is kind of a psychopath and a different take on the character. So yeah, if I look here and I do a top 5, Joker's definitely 1. I'd say Two-Face is 2. I would probably put Riddler at 3 for me. Freeze probably at 4, and then Penguin at 5. I would say those are the household name characters. Then you'd probably say 6 would be Catwoman, or maybe swap out Catwoman with Mr. Freeze. But that's what I would say. But I don't know about 10 here. I guess when you go into 10, it gets kind of a little bit muddy. But I would say that those are the most recognizable. And then like Poison Ivy, she's not on here. How come she wasn't? But Killer Croc and Hugo are. That's weird. Scarecrow definitely on the list for sure. And I think of others. I don't know, I'm sure they put Harley Quinn on the list now, but just thinking of other villains now. So then we see Batsuit Comparisons here. What's funny is I learned most of the anatomy that I drew when I was a kid and stuff. I had all of the Batman and Robin movie action figures. So I always used the figure that I had of this Batman here to learn the muscle structure with the, triceps and biceps and all that. And this here with the circular leg muscles and all that. So this is where my understanding of anatomy comes from, so. But of course, I've always had a huge heart for the Michael Keaton Batman. It's funny though, you can see it a little bit here and you'll see it on the next page, I think, too. Or maybe not even here, but you'll see it in a minute. I'm really surprised with the quality that they were able to do for the Affleck's Batsuit, though. And of course, really love the Batman animated. This particular one, Bruce Timm likes this one more, but I like that version of him. Different cowls here. You see the Batmobiles. I would say, Tim Burton one ranks number 1, and then this one's number 2. I'm not crazy about like the military vehicle type of stuff for him. Like it's cool and it makes it grounded and realistic, but I like the style of the actual bat, the look on the vehicle, Yeah, right here. See, you can see like this is a separate piece, and then there's like another slip-on piece here. And then like his boots were actually like black Nikes and stuff too. So if you actually take a look at like the full Batsuit, it's actually not as amazing as like it looked on the screen. If you sit back and look at it, like, oh, it's kind of like it has like little flaws in it and stuff. But it's definitely iconic, you know. And we see some more stuff here. I just really liked Tim Burton's just whole dark, weird vision, even though at times it wasn't comic accurate. And we see Drew Barrymore was in Batman Forever. A lot of people forget about that. I thought he made a good Robin. Like, his suit looked pretty good, I thought. Aside from the little nipples they put on it, but I enjoyed it. I saw this movie at the Dollar Theater for my birthday when it was released, or, you know, shortly after it released. But it's so funny when I think back. Everyone always dogs on Batman and Robin, but this is the only movie I ever went to go see that was actually sold out. So I had to go to another showing. They made like a 1 o'clock showing. And I went to that and I watched Batman and Robin at like 1 a.m. on a Friday on the opening day. Just thought that was so weird. But at the time I was enamored with it because I was a huge, just blind Batman fan. So I had all of the toys from this, which if you see on the Blu-ray, they actually have, I believe there's an apology from Joel Schumacher on there where he's like, we were really just trying to make toys. We're sorry that, you know, the plot and all that suffered. But they were really all about just the money behind it, which is funny because I guess it did the worst out of all the Batmans and stuff. But like I said, I have good memories of it, even though it's not a great film. So I was never crazy on how on the newer suit it hugged around his face here. I thought it made him have like an olive-shaped head, and how the ears curve in. I didn't really like that either. You see more Nolan here. I do enjoy how the Lego Batman movie likes to reference and poke fun at all the different Batman things. There's a lot of Easter eggs in the Lego Batman. So it's fun. And I did see the Justice League movie, and definitely was an amazing movie, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone said it was. And I love the scene after the credits that they teased. I really wish that they would do a follow-up, but I know that's not going to happen now. And then we go back to the black and white Batman again here. And we see it's revisiting the on-screen appearances here. See Michael Keaton. See, it's pictures like this that made people doubt that he could play this right here. But he did a good job, I feel. And I guess I would say Val Kilmer was just kind of a bland Batman. But he didn't do a horrible job. I think he did serviceable, you know, but I didn't think he did horrible. And yeah, I enjoyed what everyone else did here. George Clooney, though, I felt was, you know, like I said at the time, I was enamored with it. But if you look back on it now, he was way too casual as Batman. There was no change in the voice or anything, or change in the demeanor. He just kind of showed up with a bit of a cocky attitude, and yeah, he was really more about being this swaggering, established hero than someone with a lot of conflict, you know. So we see Nolan's Batman here. Like I said before, very surprised they got Gary Oldman to be the commish. And if I remember, he's actually Uma Thurman's husband, if I remember. So, and she was Poison Ivy. So, fun little connection there, I guess. More right here. Nolanverse. Let's see, I guess it. Alright. Skipping ahead a little bit to see what was there. And then we see more. Anne Hathaway was an okay Catwoman, but, you know, I think everyone likes Michelle Pfeiffer's take on the character the best. And we see Ben Affleck, which, like I said, this is a great suit. This is when they did, like, the special task thing or whatever, so, but he had the other one that was black here. But I love how they just kind of molded the stuff, and you can kind of see, like, the textures, so you can look at it and see, like, it's bulletproof and stuff. Yeah, they don't give the animated series a lot of attention in here, maybe because this is focused more on, like, the movies and stuff like that than the actual animated series. But like I said, the animated series really shaped a lot of people's thoughts about Batman, I feel, especially if you grew up with it. Like, you know, I was right in the middle of it, and the animated series really just kind of, when we think about Batman, that's the main thing we think about, and we read the comics with those characters' voices in our heads. Also, too, the unique thing I felt with how, I'm blanking on his name now, wow. But how the actor who played Batman on the TV show, he did an incredible job where if you look at, like, the other iterations, they would try to change their voices a little bit for Batman, but I felt like for him, his Batman voice was really Bruce's true voice, and then when he would go out in public and stuff, he would do more of the heightened voice. It was really reflecting that Bruce was, you know, Batman was Bruce. Like, he was really that person, and, you know, his public personality that he put out there for, like, the news reporters, and when he would talk to the mayor and stuff like that, that was the fake Bruce, but the real Bruce was the one out on the street fighting crime. So I thought that was cool. Yeah. But in the books, I know they describe it as, you know, there are people that say, like, he does have a gravelly voice and stuff, so I know, like, the Nolan one does that, and then the Affleck's one did the electronic voice thing. Kevin Conroy was the Batman, animated Batman, by the way. I totally blanked, but I just remembered. And then, yeah, we see a little more of the traditional here, and there he is right there. I had the privilege of meeting him in Chicago, and when I told him I met him, like, he has been the main actor to play Batman more than any other character, so as I'm concerned, he is actually the best Batman, even though he's never put on a suit, although I guess he did the CW thing here recently, but he is the Batman. Whenever I read, it's his voice of Batman that I hear, so I commend him for sticking with the character and, you know, being willing to do so many different roles for the different movies and stuff. And then we see some fun merchandise here, which you could probably find all of this right now and buy it if you wanted to. And then we did the Batman ride. I don't know if this is the Six Flags one or not. I'll throw an image or two of that up on the screen as well. Whenever I was in youth group, we did choir tours, and we did like the Six Flags in Georgia and the one in New Orleans and stuff, so definitely had some experience with those. And then we see the Batman Arkham game here. It's a great series. I might end up doing like a ASMR Let's Play of those games, but I don't know, because, you know, everyone has played them, but it might be something to look into here. And then we see a nice timeline here. And I'll move in a little bit closer so you can see. I'm gonna read everything here though. But some good stuff for sure. And then we have Nolan Batman on the back again here, Christian Bale. But yeah, I guess that's all for now. Comment down below. Let me know what you want to see, what you're excited about. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this thing out so we can grow, get bigger and bigger. I was just able to ship off the contest winners a lot of signed books a couple weeks ago, so hopefully they'll be getting those soon, and can't wait to do another one. So as always, you all have a super slumber. Thanks. Bye.